my name is David Margules, and I was a 9/11 responder with the camera. I was one of the few cameramen who were allowed onto the site. Basically what happened was they said, David, we want you down here, show to the world what we're doing, and that was through the firemen of the Global Positioning Unit. They wanted for people to see what was actually going down at the site. I got down there basically in the first week, and I basically stayed for on and off for 9 months, documenting the recovery and cleanup effort. My emotional experience of dealing with the aftermath of 9/11 was that I viewed it as a job to be told. So I tried not to get too much into emotions while I was down there, but to do a thorough job of documenting the recovery and cleanup effort, as a job, and that was my mental state at the time. Well, the pictures that I selected, when I was down there, I was just shooting everything that I could see that I thought would capture the spirit of what was going down in the blackness and hollowed ground. My final selection of pictures, took months and years to be able to fine tune what I eventually put in a book, or what was selected by the September 11th Museum and Memorial, where my work is featured, also the White House in 2 different administrations, and the New York Historical Society, which started the whole process of my work being recognized at that level. Yeah, my responsibility as a photographer was at the highest level, because I also knew that I was being entrusted by, the fire department of the Global Positioning Unit and various other people of very, very sensitive conditions. Now, I was stationed at the 10-truck firehouse, and they would basically say to me, oh, we are going to be doing an honor guard, and we want you to be able to capture that. Now, an honor guard is when the site is completely halted of any sort of recovery or machinery of that nature, and they take the remains and they put it on a gurney, and everybody stands quiet in honor of the remains, and the remains are brought up the hill into an ambulance, and then shortly thereafter goes directly to the morgue, which was on Church Street, where the cross was being staged at that particular time. So it was I took it at the highest level of responsibility to cover the dignity and also the amazing fact that these recovery workers, what they were doing was basically bringing back the remains to the families. So that was the most amazing thing for me, to be able to capture that dignity, that honor. Well, for me, it was a good way to deal with it, because when one takes, in my viewpoint, one takes an action in the times of an atrocity such as 9/11, that it allowed me to be a worker among workers. And I think the best thing to be able to do in a time like that is to do service. Because if you're stuck in your own head and saying, oh my God, poor me, look what just happened, no, that doesn't fly for me. What flies for me is to be able to be a participant, to be able to do service, and to help other people, families, responders. Everybody had a job to do, including me. How did it change my life? It changed my life in every way, shape, and form. Because when you're dealing with other people's life that you really had no contact with prior to 9/11, now all of a sudden you're thrust into a whole other world of people who are heroes, people you saw on TV, people you heard on the radio, and then I'm thrust in there with them. It completely changed my life. And to witness so many people getting sick from the 9/11 toxic dust, that was quite profound, and including myself, who was diagnosed on October 2013 with leukemia. Now I'm one of the sick ones, trying to get better. So yes, it changed my life profoundly, and I'd say for the better. I could have predicted this catastrophe. I mean, they bombed the World Trade Center in 1993, and it was only a moment of time before there was going to be another terrorist attack. And we actually that the current administration really didn't have their eye on the ball on that, and we were very vulnerable to an attack. My involvement, I never would have predicted my intense involvement. Is certainly, having ABC News using my work, and then the late Peter Jennings doing a story about myself and the WDC responders who were working down there. You can't plot that out. You can't plan that. That is something that just happens, and when it happens, you better be ready for it. Well, the library of pictures are going to play a very, very important part, especially with my book From Dusk Till Dawn, 20 Years After, because what it does, it documents not only the first 9 months to a year of what I saw with my lens, but I was committed to the 20 years after. That's why the book is called 20 Years After. That documents the recoveries, it documents the funerals, it documents the memorials, the street naming signs, anything that I deemed that was important, I wanted to cover. Now, this book is probably, at this point in time, the most comprehensive book out there, because it compiles all the, what I saw for the first year, and then also 20 years after. So, my face my face was very well known down at the site, and a lot of people were very, very grateful for my volunteerism, because there was no nickel to be had. It was just because I wanted to do service for others. My first book was basically the first year of what I captured down at the site. That came out in 2006. And that book was covered by the September 11th Museum and Memorial in that shop, and it was quite comprehensive at the particular time. The new book, From Dusk Till Dawn, 20 Years After, covers way more. Even though the book is smaller in stature and size, the amount of photographs could be almost triple to quadruple. So we really put a lot of pictures together on pages and things of that nature. So I would say it's probably way more comprehensive, and certainly as far as books are concerned, probably one that's going to be able to be used in an educational capacity. We also have Hillary Clinton. We met with Hillary Clinton. She's very interested in the book. She has her copies, and we're talking about doing a book signing at the September 11th Museum, possibly in the next in May of 2022.
Okay.
My closing remarks is this: though I am sick from leukemia, and it is a challenge, and the things that I have to do on a daily basis to keep my health strong, I'm grateful that I did it, and I wouldn't have changed a thing. So that's really it. If one wants to purchase the book, they go from dusktilldawn.com. That's 2 T's and 1 L.